Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Safa and today I'm gonna talk about lights on the aircraft, type of lights on Airbus versus Boeing, and conclude with maintenance of lights. So the light chapter comes under ATA chapter 33. We're gonna study about two types of lights. One is internal lights and one is external lights. So I hope that you like this video, and if you like, so please share your comments and please press the bell icon which you will see on my video. Now let us start with general illumination lights, which are internal lights. There are dome lights, console lights, reading lights, flood lights, then instrument panel lights, map table lights, cabin lights, lavatory lights, then passenger reading lights, seatbelt sign lights, lab occupied lights, then cabin attendant work light, and emergency lights. So let me walk you through all of the lights again. Now the picture that you see is about the emergency exit light, which is inside the cabin. It takes power from DC battery, and when it is in arm or on position, the light illuminates inside the cabin. When aircraft is fully ready for departure, we put this light on arm position, and in Boeing it has another kind of knob. Now these are the emergency exit lights, which is basically near the emergency exit row, and the aisle is also illuminated in case of emergency. Then we have overhead panel, which is seat belts and no smoking sign on when it is pressed in on position. Then we also have other lights such as flood light and integral light, which is basically for cockpit. Then inside the cockpit there is also one main light, which is console or flow light, which should be always on if it is a no-go. Then glacial lights, we can adjust the knob accordingly if we want light of glacial. And next comes the avionic compartment light, which we can use according to our requirement. Then there are overhead panel wherein we can see all the lights and in their position. Then now we'll check external lights. There are several external lights such as cargo compartment lights, avionics compartment light, navigation light, wheel well light, landing lights, runway turn off lights, then taxi and takeoff lights, logo lights, anti-collision lights, strobe light, wing light, and engine scan light. And now we'll check the lights. First is the navigation light. All the exterior lights that I talk about we'll check. Now navigation light on the right wingtip is always green, and it shows the position as well as for the navigation purpose. And on the Boeing or as well as on the Airbus it is the same. Red light at the left wingtip and white light under the APU section, the tail cone of the APU section. White light at the back of the fuselage. Now these are on when the when we select the knob in on position, and this goes off when we select the knob in off position in the cockpit. Navigation light, we can put it in number 1 or number 2 according to our wish, according to the company's SOP. Now we'll check the wing lights and why wing lights are used. Wing lights are basically there to show the status of the wings as well as the engine, whether any icing is formed or what is the status of the wing, because we don't want any icing condition on the engine or on the wing area. It will give us the false indication, so that's why we have this light so that we can scan. Now third light is beacon light. Beacon light is very important on all the aircraft, whether it is Boeing or Airbus. There are two beacon lights, one in the lower section and one is on the top. If the engines are running, this is always on position. If the aircraft is ready for departure, it is put in on position. If the aircraft is taxiing or towing or anything, when we want the ground personnel to know that the aircraft's movement is going to take place. Now we have the strobe light. Strobe light has three positions. One is off, auto and on position. Strobe lights are there near the navigation lights, and these are the blinking lights. Before entering runway or during the takeoff, the strobe lights come on, and under the APU fuselage these are the three blinking white lights. When the lights are illuminated, it shows the aircraft is ready for departure on the runway. And basically we keep this light on auto position, but when it is required we put this in on position on the takeoff phase. Now we'll talk about the runway turn off lights. Runway turn off lights on the AIRBUS are the two offset from the center lights. These two lights basically gives the wide area near the runway, wide area scan near the front part of the runway. And now we'll talk about the landing lights. Landing lights also has three positions. One is on, off and retract. When it is put in on position, the landing light is on. When it comes down and it is in on position, it's extended. Now when we put the landing light in off position, it will basically be there, it will be hanging, but it will be turned off. When it is in retract position, the landing light goes up and it gets fully stored back in the fuselage or in the main wheel well section. Now these are the three landing light switches. We'll talk about the takeoff light, taxi light, and takeoff and taxi light also has three positions. It comes under nose lights. Taxi light is used during the taxiing, even by the maintenance personnel or by the pilot when they want to know the front area for taxiing of the aircraft. The smaller one is a taxi light, and the bigger one, to give you the more area scan, is the takeoff light. The left hand side light is the takeoff light and the right hand side light is the taxi light. The left hand has more intensity for takeoff at night. Now these are all the external lights. Other than that, we also have cargo compartment lights. Then we have main wheel well. So the next picture that we see are the Boeing lights and all the type of lights, and to explain this we'll see a small clip
of exterior lights, wing lights, wheel well lights, be to fairly limited extent, illuminate the runway ahead of the aircraft. They are used during takeoff, climb out, approach and landing. They are located just inboard of the pack ram air inlets, on the underside of the fuselage. Each retractable landing light switch has three positions: retract, extend and on. With a switch in the retract position, the lights are off and stowed. With a switch in the extend position, the light is extended from its stowed position, but is still off. With a switch in the on position, the lights are extended and illuminated. There is no speed restriction on the retractable landing lights, but it is common practice not to use them above 250 knots to reduce stress on the hinges. The fixed landing light switches are located right next to the retractable landing light switches, and the lights themselves are located at each wing root and shine at a fixed angle. The fixed landing light switches have only two positions, off and on. There is a gang bar used to turn on and extend. All the landing lights are used to illuminate taxi beside the landing light switches, and the lights themselves are located beside the fixed landing lights in the wing roots. There are two switches, for the left and right lights respectively. They are two position switches, off and on. Taxi light. The taxi light is used to illuminate the path ahead of the aircraft and increase its visibility to other aircraft, controllers and ground personnel. The taxi light switch is located on the captain's side of the forward overhead panel, beside the runway turn-off light switches. The light itself is mounted on the nose gear leg and therefore shines wherever the nose gear is pointed. The switch is a two-position switch, off and on. When the gear is retracted, the taxi light turns off automatically. Logo lights. The logo lights are used to illuminate the airline logo on the tail of the aircraft. There is a single switch on the first officer's side of the forward overhead panel, and the logo lights themselves are located on the horizontal stabilizer. They are angled towards the vertical stabilizer to illuminate the airline logo. The switch is simply selectable on and off. Position and strobe lights. The collision lights. The anti-collision lights are
Now we'll see a beautiful video of takeoff during a daytime. Now we can see a strobe light is blinking, anti-collision light is blinking. As it is an Airbus aircraft, the lights that we see will blink in a little bit different way than in Boeing, which we can see Jet Airways aircraft is a Boeing aircraft. Now this aircraft is ready for departure, and most of its lights are in the on position, which are required. Which are not required, it will always be in the off position. Any which ways, we will always see that taxi lights some of the airline pilots use during the taxiing, even in the day light position. And when they are docking into the stand, they put the taxi light off. Now we see beautiful departure. Thank you for watching my video. My name is Safa once again, and thank you for joining in and checking this video.